Good morning, everyone. My name is Katie Gray, and I am the project coordinator here at the World Trade Centre Winnipeg. I would like to begin today by respectfully acknowledging that this webinar is coming to you from Treaty 1 territory, traditional territory of the First Nations and the homeland of the Métis. So thank you all very much for joining our How to Build a Strong Digital Reputation webinar, which will be presented by Newnham. So now it is time to start our webinar. Newnham is a digital marketer with over 20 years experience in advertising and marketing. As the owner of TMD Marketing, Erin is passionate about helping small businesses build stronger online properties to help them remain competitive on and offline. So we are in good hands today. Thank you, Erin.
Hey, Katie, thank you. And thank you everybody for joining us. Good morning. First day of June. Can't believe how quickly this year is flying by us. I just want to thank everyone for attending this morning. As Katie said, I do have a presentation to go through, but I'd love to keep this as open as possible and create some dialogue and answer your questions as we go through it. So please don't hesitate to ask those questions. And I'll answer those as we go through the presentation. So today I'm going to talk about how to build a strong digital reputation and why it's so important to build a strong digital reputation. There are lots of things that will help you or will help you create a strong digital footprint. And some of those things range from social media to reviews to making sure you're listed in different business directories. There's a whole bunch of activities that equate to building a strong digital footprint and a strong digital reputation. So I'm going to walk through the steps of how to do that today. But first, before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about why building a strong digital reputation is so important. And how marketing has changed over the years, and particularly the last 18 months with COVID having such a big impact on our life, digital has become critical to businesses' success. So what we're seeing more and more of every single day is that people are making decisions whether or not to do business with you based on information they find online. And again, that's even more prevalent today based on the fact that we're basically being forced to purchase products and services online because we're not able to interact with businesses in person as much as we were because of restrictions and because of COVID. So 93% of consumers or shoppers say that they actually use online resources to make a decision on whether or not they're going to make a purchase. 83% of consumers or shoppers will actually research a product or service before going into a store to purchase it. So that's a lot of information that people or that's a lot of research and a lot of information that people are looking for before they even decide whether or not they're going to do business with you. So once upon a time, the old customer journey used to look a little bit like this. If you opened a business, you would basically run some ads. You'd create some awareness in the marketplace. Maybe you run some ads in the newspaper, you run some radio ads, you put some billboards up, you create stimulus and awareness in the marketplace. And then once the consumer was exposed to that, they'd make a decision on whether or not they were going to visit your store or do business with you. And then they'd share that experience with their family or friends. But the big change now in the new customer journey has this Google component. So we still need to create interest and awareness for our products and services. But, the very next thing that almost every one of us does after we've been made aware of a product or service is we pick up our phones and we Google it. We look for more information. We visit that page's Instagram account or their Facebook account, or we just Google the name of the product, looking for reviews. We're trying to educate ourselves on whether or not that product or service is right for us. Only once we've found that information, and only once we're satisfied with the information that we find, do we decide that, yep, okay, now I'm going to purchase it. And then, of course, we still share our experiences with our family and friends, but we do that in a different way now as well. There are 2 points throughout the consumer journey, the new consumer journey, that Google has actually identified as being critical with respect to whether or not someone will make a purchase with you. The first point is, how easy is it for somebody to find information about your products or services online? And then the second point is, what sort of information are they finding? Are they finding positive reviews? Are they finding people who have used your product or service and have written blog posts about it? Are they finding social media posts that talk about your products or services? So again, making sure your products and services are easy to find, but also making sure that people are talking about them in a positive way online is critical. And those 2 things are will have the biggest impact on whether or not somebody will purchase your products or services or not. So with that being said, it's really, really, really important that you stand out where your potential customers are searching online. You need to make sure that you have listings in all of the appropriate business directories and all of the appropriate map platforms. So places like Google Maps or Google My Business. Apple Maps is an important one, and even voice search platforms. It's important that you have listings for your business in those. If you're a restaurant or service-based business, making sure that you're on platforms like Yelp or the Yellow Pages. It's just really, really important that you create a presence where your potential customers are searching and looking for information. So there are lots of different channels that impact the customer journey today. I spoke about awareness being really important. There are lots of things that you can do to build awareness for your business. You can create social media posts talking about your awesome products or services. You can run search advertising or Google advertising to build awareness. You can create email campaigns or text marketing campaigns, loyalty programs. You can create fun video ads that you run on your social media channels or on YouTube. Obviously, TV ads are still working to help build awareness. Billboard advertising, online display advertising, newspaper or magazines, radio, word of mouth. Those are all wonderful tools to help you build awareness and interest for your products or services. The next step, however, is once you've built that awareness, again, you need to make it easy for people to find your business and to find your products and services online. So some of the things that you can do to help make it easier for people to find you online are things like SEO or search engine optimization. So that's the process behind making sure your website shows up as far up in Google searches as possible. So if somebody searches for a product or service that you offer, you want to make sure you're showing up in Google ahead of your competitors. So you can invest in SEO. You can invest in PPC or pay-per-click ads. So that's basically paying Google to show up at the top of those Google searches. Making sure that you're listed on platforms like Google Maps or Google My Business and Apple Maps. So if somebody's in their car and they say, "Hey, Siri, where's the nearest Mexican restaurant?" Do you want to make sure your restaurant's listed in that voice search? Online business directories. So depending on the industry that you're in, there are probably tons and tons of business directories that are related to your industry. So make sure that you create a listing in those online business directories. Likewise with apps, if there's any apps related to your business or your product or service, make sure you're listed in those. And again, voice search. So there are lots of things that you can do to help make it easier for people to find you online as well. So you build awareness, you make it easy for people to find you, but then what sort of information are they finding? Is the information that they find leading them to want to make a purchase and leading them to want to do business with you? If it's not, there are some things that you can do to help persuade that potential customer. Things like creating blog posts and writing articles that position you as an expert in your industry, or position you or your product as a leading product. So you can create content focused on, you can create persuasive content designed to get people to make a purchase. Reviews, you can ask happy customers to provide reviews for you. So Google reviews and Facebook reviews and Yelp reviews. You can ask your, again, happy customers to share their experience on social media. Ask them to share their experience with and tag their family and friends in their posts. So there are a number of things that you can do to make sure that the information that people find is credible and leads them to want to take that next step to do business with you. So you build awareness, make it easy for people to find you, make sure that the information that they find is positive and leads them to want to do business with you. But then the next step is you need to make it easy for people to actually do business with you and to convert. Again, going back to what I was saying at the beginning, COVID has had such a huge impact on our lives that we're all making purchases online now, whether we want to or not. We've been forced to do commerce online. So, you need to make it as easy as possible for somebody to make a purchase. So whether that means setting up an e-commerce store and actually allowing people to purchase your products and services through your website, or whether it means having a really clear and easy form for them to fill out so you can get back to them. Perhaps it's having a messenger bot on your website, and I'm sure you're all familiar with those. Car dealers use them a lot. If you ever visit a car dealer website, you'll see the little message sort of icon at the bottom right, and it'll pop up and it'll say, hey, is there anything we can help you with today? 9 times out of 10, that's an automated program. So the idea with that is it's designed to help answer any questions and get you further down that sales funnel. So perhaps that would work for you. But the whole idea with conversion is you need to make it as easy as possible for somebody to actually make a purchase. And then last of all is advocacy. Once somebody has gone through that journey, they've made a purchase, they're really happy with the service that you provide, you need to actively or proactively ask them to share their experience. Share their experience through a review. Share their experience through creating a social media post and tagging you and their family and friends. Even ask them to create a blog post talking about their experience with your product or service. The idea here is you want to try and create advocates of your customers. You want to use them for advocacy. So that's today's customer journey, or that's what today's customer journey looks like. You need to build awareness for your products or services. You need to make it easy for people to find you online. You need to make sure that the information they find leads them to want to do business with you. You need to make sure that it's easy for them to do business with you. And then you need to make sure that they're sharing their positive experiences with family and friends. It looks like, do we have a question that's just come up there, Katie? I know if I click on it, it's going to close my presentation. I'm not sure if you're there, Katie, but.
Yeah, of course. So it is from John. He says, if you can't find a .com URL in only a .ca, are you out of the market?
Not at all. No, so depending on, well, first of all, depending on where you are and who your target audience is, a .ca URL can actually be beneficial. If your target audience is primarily in Canada, then what's going to happen if somebody searches for your product or for products or services that you offer? One of the ranking factors and one of the things that Google will do is actually look at whether you have a .ca or .com or .org, or it'll look at your URL and try and make sure that whatever results it puts forward is going to be is going to serve that customer or that searcher's needs as best as possible. So Google takes a whole bunch of things into consideration when it decides how to rank you based on somebody's search. But if your focus is Canada and you have a .ca domain, that could actually be a lot more beneficial for you than having a .com or a .org domain. It doesn't mean that you won't show up in searches from the US. It just depends on, again, what Google is deciding with their algorithm is the best result for the customer. Okay, so moving on. When we talk about reputation, I've already mentioned that there are some things that you can do to really boost your credibility online and really boost your reputation online. I spoke a little bit about the fact that blogs and articles can be really helpful. And the reason they can be really helpful is because not only do they help you position yourself as an industry leader or expert in your industry, but they can actually help with SEO purposes as well. Excuse me. The more content that you have on your website that's associated to your products or services, the more chances you have of that page showing up in Google searches. So, you know, I always recommend to our clients, you know, create as many blog posts as you can that talk about your expertise and talk about how awesome your products are, and create those on a regular basis. Google prefers to see websites that are constantly being updated and refreshed with new content. Now, in addition to that, you could also, if you wanted to help create some credibility and links back to your website, you could offer to write blog posts and articles for other websites as well. So for industry type sites, for news websites, send them a note or an email and say, hey, listen, we're an expert in this field. We'd love to share our experiences with you. And you know, here's a blog post if you'd be willing to share that on your website. And then, of course, ask them to link that back to your website. So in addition to it building credibility in the eyes of the consumer, it's also helping with your SEO and your ranking in Google as well. Again, when we talk about reviews, the obvious ones that come to mind, of course, are Google reviews, but there's also TripAdvisor reviews, there's Yelp reviews, there are different review platforms for different industries. So ensuring that you are encouraging your customers to leave reviews and to proactively ask those customers reviews is going to help you perform better in Google searches as well. And also, it's going to put that customer's mind at ease. I know that if I search for a restaurant, and if I want to, you know, look for a new restaurant, one of the first things I look at are the reviews. So making sure that you have lots of positive reviews across multiple platforms is not only going to make the customer happy, but it's going to make Google happy as well. And then, of course, again, social media. Encourage your customers to share their experiences on social media. Get them to tag their friends and family in their posts. You may even, you know, choose to incentivize people to share their experiences. Now, one word of warning there, you can't incentivize people to leave reviews. That actually goes against Google's and Facebook's best practices. You're not allowed to pay people for reviews, but there's no reason why you can't pay people to share them, posts of themselves using your products or services on social media. That's where the whole social media influencer sort of term comes into play, and strategy comes into play. So you can look for influencers to use your products or services and share their experience with their audiences and with their family and friends as well. Now, the challenge in all of this is you need to build a strong digital foundation. You need to make it easy for potential clients to find you. However, if you don't focus on building your reputation, the risk that you run is, let's say you spend some money on building awareness and interest. You run some ad campaigns, you get everyone hyped up about your product or service. You've spent some money on SEO so they can find your products or they can find information about you really easily. But the last 5 reviews were 2-star or 3-star. Essentially, what you've done to that point is you've got the client to a point that they're ready to make a purchase, they're ready to be converted, but because your reputation isn't as positive as it could be, you're essentially pushing them to your competitor. So you're marketing for your competitor at that point. So it's important that you build that strong reputation and that strong foundation before you engage in too much advertising and marketing. Now, when clients ask us, where should we start with this? Like, how do we build out our digital journey? Where do we start? The first point you should always look at is the conversion or your website, because ultimately that's where the customer is going to make a purchase or engage with you. So make sure that it's easy for people to make a purchase. Once they've landed on your website, make it easy for them. You've got only a few seconds to grab their attention. So make sure that you've built a conversion-focused website. Once you've done that, you can start to invest in SEO, so making it easier for people to find you. You can also proactively ask existing customers for reviews and ask them to share their experiences. And you can also start to build your social media presence as well. So I would do those things second. And then last of all, once you've got that foundation built, that's when you would spend money on advertising. That's when you would start to run Google ads and Facebook ads and potentially some traditional media as well, so print and radio and TV if you wanted to do that. But that awareness building and the advertising should come after you've built the foundation. So every minute, businesses are being shaped by consumers who are exchanging dialogue and sharing reviews about them online. And since 97% of consumers find local businesses info on the web, you need a way to see what your customers are saying and a platform to help you join in that conversation. Reputation management in its simplest form is basically just being intelligent about how others view your business. Now, there are 2 areas that reputation management can be broken up into. One of them is business listings, or business and social media listings. So we spoke a little bit about making sure you're listed in business directories, making sure that you are active on social media. That's one part of reputation management. The other part is the reviews, making sure that you're proactively seeking reviews. So 97% of consumers find local businesses info on the web, and 90% of them make decisions based on what online reviews say. And everybody and their dog has an opinion, and they're sharing those opinions on social media. I just had the worst meal of my life at XYZ restaurant in Winnipeg. The fries were soggy and the service was terrible. It was the worst experience ever. However, the next customer that came in, best poutine ever. Oh my God, you have to try it. It was incredible. And even the dog has an opinion. I like bacon, and I think everyone should know. The point here is we as consumers are sharing our experiences online, but we're not just sharing them on Facebook or Twitter. We're sharing them in a bunch of different places. We're sharing them on TripAdvisor. We're sharing our experiences on Yelp. We're sharing them on Google My Business or Google Reviews. We're sharing them on Bing, on Web Local. There are tons and tons of different places where people are sharing their experiences with your business online. 2/3 of people are more likely to buy from you if they can find positive comments about your business online, and half are less likely to buy if they find negative comments. Now, this one's interesting. A 1-star improvement of a restaurant's average Yelp score can have a direct impact on revenue by up to 6%. Like that's crazy when you think about it. If you can encourage people, if you're averaging 3 stars and you can encourage people to leave a review and bump that score up to 4 stars, then you're potentially going to see a 6% increase in revenue because of that. So your reputation has a direct impact on your bottom line as well. And the reason for it is consumers are controlling the conversation, and users trust user-generated content more than traditional media. Now, a great example of this is, again, I'll use a local restaurant as an example. Let's say, for example, I'm a local restaurant. Things are a little bit slow at the moment, so I decide to run a half-page advertisement in the Winnipeg Free Press. Now, that half-page advertisement talks about how awesome we are, how great our service is. It lists some of our specials. It frames us in a really positive light. Now, as a consumer, I see that advertisement. What's the next thing I do? I pick up my phone and I Google the business. I look for more information. And what I find is that the last 20 reviews were 1 star, and they were talking about how terrible the service was and how the restaurant isn't clean or sanitized, and it was just not a great experience. Who am I going to trust? Am I going to trust the ad that I saw in the Free Press, or am I going to trust what actual customers are telling me? So users trust user-generated content more than they trust traditional media. So your reputation is not only what you tell people it is, it's also what your customers and what other people are saying as well. So it's important that as you grow your presence online, you also need to improve upon and grow your reputation as well. You need to strive for increased visibility at the same time that you're increasing the volume of reviews and positive social media posts and things like that are being shared. Did we have a question come through, Katie? It looks like we had one come in.
Yes. So I have a question from Leslie. Many of us are in a holding period. We want to promote and advertise, raise awareness, etc., but we aren't sure when we are actually able to operate due to COVID restrictions. What is the balance of marketing now versus actually being able to deliver the experience? How much lead time is too much?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, one of the things that is critical for people to be spending time on at the moment in this, we'll call it downtime, is making sure that they build a solid digital foundation. Because what's going to happen is there are tons and tons and tons of business owners out there who are currently in a scramble, and they're panicking because they've relied upon traditional marketing methods for such a long time that they're in a situation where now most businesses, almost all business is being done online at the moment. So they're investing heavily in it. They're investing in websites. They're investing in their social media profiles. They're investing in, creating blogs and different digital things. So in order to remain competitive, I think it's critical that businesses really focus on building that strong digital footprint and focus on building out that customer journey from a digital perspective. Because as much as I don't hate to say it because it's the industry that I'm in, but as much as I hate to say it, we're moving into a period of time where we are forced to do business online, whether we like it or not. So if you're not keeping up, and you haven't built that strong digital footprint, unfortunately, I think you're going to get left behind. So my advice at the moment is, again, during this downtime, focus on building your digital portfolio. Focus on building a really strong conversion-focused website. Focus on building lots of great content that helps position you as an expert or an industry leader. Just focus on getting that foundation built. Okay, so how do you develop a winning reputation that is positive and visible at the same time? Well, there are, again, a number of things that you can do. You can focus on building listings and which will help increase visibility. You can focus on generating more reviews and positive mentions for your business. Obviously, keep track of what the competition's doing. And you can focus on building your social media profiles as well, building your social media audience and engagement through social. Now, when we talk about listings all about visibility. It's about making sure people can find you online. So it's critical that you identify what platforms you need to be listed on, and that you make sure that those listings are accurate. Now, when I talk about listings, I've mentioned it a few times. The easiest way to explain it is if you remember back 10 years or 15 years ago, and the Yellow Pages would call you and say, "Hey, do you want to put a listing in the Yellow Pages?" And it would be your business name, your phone number, your address. That's essentially what I'm talking about here, creating a listing and making sure that it's listed in as many different places as possible. Now, different platforms will have different features associated to their listing. So for example, Google and Yelp, they allow you to have images and videos, and they have reviews tied into their platform. There's a whole range of different features that these different listing providers have. So it pays to do the research, understand where your customers are searching, what platforms they're using, and build strong, robust listings. But again, it's important to make sure that they're accurate as well. And the reason that's critical is, from a consumer or a customer standpoint, there's nothing worse than looking for a business and finding their information is different across different platforms. So I don't know how many times you guys have experienced this, but I've Googled businesses before, and they've had different phone numbers, different addresses come up. They've had different, it's frustrating for consumers. So you need to make sure that wherever your business is listed, that the listings are accurate and that they're consistent. Because it drives us crazy. It drives consumers crazy. Now, the other reason it's important is I referred earlier to Google's ranking algorithm. So one of the things that Google will actually do when deciding how to rank your business when somebody searches for your products or services is it'll look at, okay, how many websites is this business listed on? And how accurate are those listings? Do they all have the same address and the same phone number? Do they all talk about the same products and services? So your listing accuracy is actually a Google ranking factor. The more listings that you have and the higher the accuracy of those listings, the higher up you're going to appear in Google searches when somebody looks for your products and services. So listings are really important. Reviews and mentions. Online reviews are marketing gold. There's no doubt about it. Now there are 3 steps to review success. One, of course, is ensuring that you engage with the reviewer. And the reason that's important is if you think about prior to review platforms existing, if I went and purchased a table from IKEA and that table was missing a leg, I would phone IKEA and I would say, hey, what the heck's going on? I bought a table and my leg is missing. They would be forced to deal with the issue. They would have to fix that issue. It's no different online. If somebody leaves a negative review online, it's important to show not only that customer that you want to help and you want to get through the situation, but it's a public forum. So it's important for everybody else to see that you're engaged in trying to fix the issue and trying to repair the issue. So the flip side of that is it's also a great idea to thank people for their positive reviews as well. You can actually use your review responses as a marketing tool. So for example, if I'm a restaurant and somebody says, oh my God, I just had the best steak of my life at XYZ restaurant, you could respond to that review and say, hey, thanks so much. We really appreciate your 5-star review. You should try out the lobster next time. We do this amazing lobster that's soaked in butter. It's delicious. So you can use your review responses as a marketing opportunity as well. So engaging the reviewer is always really important. The other thing that you can use reviews for is use them as management tools. So if you're getting tons of awesome reviews that talk about a particular staff member's service, so, John keeps providing this awesome level of service and everybody's talking about it, that's a great opportunity for you to provide some accolades and to give John a pat on the back, maybe even a bonus. So use those positive reviews to encourage and to thank your staff for the awesome work that they do. The flip side of that is if you're receiving negative reviews about a particular area of your business, the service is slow or the cleanliness wasn't up to par, you can use those reviews to help form better policies and to help form training regimes and to help improve upon those areas that you're not performing very well in the eyes of your customers. So use reviews as management tools. And then last of all, use your reviews in other materials. Harvest that content and use it on your website, use it in your brochures, use it on your menus. If you're a restaurant, publish some reviews on your menus, or even just publish something saying, hey, check out our 5-star reviews on Google or Facebook. But use those reviews to your fullest, to their fullest potential. So there are sort of 3 steps to review success. Now, how do you proactively generate reviews? What you need to do, of course, is request feedback from your customers. You need to proactively ask your customers for reviews. Ideally, you also want to participate in online conversations about your business. So if people are talking about your business on Twitter, or on Facebook, you need to be aware of those conversations and participate in those conversations. And then, of course, ask customers for reviews online and address negative feedback online. So the idea there is if somebody leaves you a negative review, the last thing that you want to do is get into an argument with them online. The best practice that we always offer and something we always recommend to our clients is always engage with and respond to the reviewer, But instead of getting into an argument with them in the review section, just say to them, hey, look, we're really sorry that you had a bad experience. We're going to do everything that we can to get to the bottom of it. Would you kindly shoot us an email or give us a call at this number, and provide them with an opportunity to connect with you offline. You don't want to deal with that online. So the process behind asking for reviews is pretty easy. Customer visits your business, always ask them for an email address or a phone number. Almost all of you probably do that anyway, but create a way to collect that information. So email address or phone number. Now, there are different tools and different platforms that if you upload that customer's phone number or email address, it will actually automatically send them a request for a review. And I'm sure some of you as customers have received those before. You'll receive an email saying, hey, thanks so much for choosing to do business with us. Would you kindly leave us a review? Or I've been to a barber in the Polo Park Mall who does it. So, after my haircut, I'll receive a text message from them saying, hey, thanks for coming and using our services. Leave us a review. So there are different tools and platforms that will make the process behind proactively asking for reviews easier. Lots of people are nervous about asking for reviews, but you shouldn't be. You needn't be nervous about it. So how do you improve your online reputation? Again, ideally what you want to do is find some sort of a platform that enables you to manage all of this stuff in one place. You need to be able to look at where you're listed. You need to be able to look at, what conversations people are having. You need to be able to see in one dashboard where people are leaving reviews for you. Again, there are lots of tools that enable you to do this. I'm going to go through a quick demo of one that we use so you can see what I'm talking about. But do some research on different software that's available to you, and look for some tools that help automate a lot of these processes. So I'm actually just going to jump out of the presentation and jump into that demo. So let me just open up here. While I'm doing that, does anyone have any questions? Don't be shy. Katie, any questions from you?
We don't have any right now, but sometimes it takes a few seconds for them to come in, so.
Okay. All righty.
Oh, here we
There we
go. From Liz, what are some popular dashboards to use?
Yeah, so there's a few different ones. Some of them you may have heard of before, but platforms like Hootsuite, which is focused primarily on social media, so that helps you track and listen to conversations about your business. So you can actually put in your business's name or the products or services that you offer, and it will actively seek and look for conversations that people are having about your business online. So Hootsuite is a really good one. Sprout Social is another one. The Yellow Pages actually has some wonderful products that allow you to create a business listing, and at the click of a button, distribute that listing to multiple websites and multiple platforms. The best thing to do is jump online when you have some time and look for reputation management software or reputation management tools, and there are tons and tons of them that will come up that you can take a look at. Some of them are free, some of them are paid services. The one that I'm showing you here is one that not only we use for our business, but we provide this dashboard to our clients as well. And this one is called Reputation Management. The reason we really like this one is because, as I said earlier, it pulls all of that information into one easy to understand dashboard. You're not having to go to different places to look at all this information. It's all pulled into one dashboard. So I'm going to go through this really quickly and just give you an overview of some of the things that we have access through or to through this dashboard. So first thing we're going to look at, actually, before I do that, Katie, we've got another question.
It was just a question from Paige on the spelling of Hootsuite, but I typed it in there, so we're good.
Okay, cool. Okay, so let's take a look at reputation management. So the first tab we're going to look at is reviews. So I'm going to click on reviews. So what this software actually does is pulls reviews in from multiple sources. So it will pull reviews in from Google, it will pull reviews in from TripAdvisor, it will pull reviews in from Yelp, it'll pull reviews in from lots of different sources. What you're able to do at that point is when somebody leaves a review for you, you can actually respond to that review from within this dashboard. So if I scroll down here, we can see I've got a couple of Google reviews there. I've got a Facebook review there. I've got reviews from multiple platforms that I can manage within this one dashboard. So I don't have to log into Google. I don't have to log into Facebook. I don't have to log into TripAdvisor. It's all in one dashboard. The other thing that this tool allows us to do, which I think is awesome, is create templated responses based on the review rating. So this one's a 5-star review. So if I click on that one, here's this templated response that I've created. So, these are the templates that I've created whenever somebody leaves us a 5-star review. So we appreciate your kind feedback of TMD Marketing. Thank you for taking the time to leave us a review. Please don't hesitate to visit us again soon. Have a great day. So I'll respond. So I've just responded to that review on Google. So my response will now show up in Google reviews. So this is just a really awesome tool to help you manage all of the reviews that come from multiple sources in one dashboard. The other thing that it does, of course, is keeps track of your average review score. It shows you the industry average as well. So my industry average is 4.2. Our average score is 4.9, which is great. It'll also pull out the top keywords, so the things that are talking about most in the reviews. And you can look at that in a word cloud format. Oh, there we go. Taking a second to load here. There we go. So you can look at it in a word cloud format or just like that as well. So just an awesome tool to help you manage your reviews. The other thing that this software does is it allows us to create what's called a review display widget. So this is a widget that you can actually display on your website. So you can see all of those reviews that people have made right on your website, which is an awesome tool as well. And on that topic, just quickly, Google will actually publish some of those. So if you've got reviews on your website, that's actually one of Google's ranking factors. If you're publishing those reviews on your site, that will help your website rank better as well. So that's an awesome tool too. The other thing that this software does is provides us with an overview of our listing score. So if we click on listings, here we go. It's going to give us an overview of our listing score. So the industry average for marketing businesses is 199. Our listing score is 540. So we are killing it. We're doing really well. This will actually show us all of the places that we're listed in and whether or not those listings are accurate or whether there's errors. So here we can see Bing is telling us that we have some errors in our listing. And when we look at what that error is, first of all, we have a postcode or a postal code error in that listing. And we also have just the address is displayed a little bit differently. So we can now go into that listing and update that listing. So just a great place to help you keep track of all your listings and the accuracy of those listings as well. It will also provide you with an overview of everywhere that your website is mentioned too. So if somebody's linking to your website, this will help, this will keep track of those links and show you where your website's linked from. I'm going to skip over Google Q&A, but Google My Business actually allows people to ask questions right in your Google My Business profile. So if you have that set up, again, you can manage those questions from right within this dashboard. Competition. So we can rank our efforts against competitors. We can see how we're performing against competitors. So that's a helpful tool as well. We can see our social media following. So you can see all of that here. And then we can see share of voice in Google searches. We can see all of that information here. Mentions. So I said earlier, one of the things that's really helpful is keeping track of when and where people are mentioning your business. Now here we go. So here are a bunch of websites that have mentioned our business. Here's a social media post that mentioned our business. Here are some Facebook posts that mentioned our business. So we can jump in here and start to have some conversations with these people. So it just helps to give you an overview of who and what people are saying about your business. Social media. So in here, it will show us recent social media posts. We can actually put our employees' hashtags in here so we can monitor what they're saying if we wanted to, and then social media statistics, and then of course just some reports as well. The reason I wanted to share this with you is to show you that there are some awesome tools out there that enable you to manage your entire sort of digital reputation from one place. If you do, again, as I said earlier, a Google search for reputation management software or reputation management tools, there are tons and tons of them out there that you can use. This one that we use, as I said, it's called Reputation Management. We charge, I think, $30 a month for clients to have access to this software. So you can use it on your own, or we can also provide some of these services. Like we can request and manage reviews on your behalf. We can create listings on all these different platforms on your behalf and keep them accurate. Those are some of the services that we offer. But the software alone, for you to do it yourself, we charge about $30 a month for. Okay, so I'm going to jump back to the presentation. And we are almost done, I think. I'm just going to skim through this because a lot of this I've just gone through in the demo. Yeah, this is all stuff I've gone through in the demo. So yeah, we are actually done. So if anyone has any questions, now's the time to ask. We've got a couple of minutes left, I think 5 minutes to go. So fire some questions at me.
Perfect. Amazing presentation, Aaron. I appreciated the content so much. Reviews are just so important, and how you manage them is critical. So thank you so much. We do have a few questions. I have one from Louise. She says, I don't have a business storefront and run my business entirely from home online. I shied away from listing a physical address as my home address. Any suggestions on how to leverage Google and being consistent with location?
Yeah, you can actually, I know Google My Business, you can, when you set up your Google My Business account, you can actually choose to not display your address publicly. Google will make you put an address in there because it wants to make sure that you're a real business, that you exist. You're not just, you know, somewhere on cyberspace. They want to make sure you're genuine and you're real. So they will force you to put an address in there. However, you can choose to hide that address and not display your address. So just dig a little deeper into some of the settings of some of these listing providers, because a lot of them will allow you to do that. Yeah, if you're concerned about publishing your actual address, just take a look in the settings and see what flexibility they have. But I know definitely Google is one that allows you to hide your address.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I have another question from Melinda. Thank you for this seminar to teach us how to manage our business's reputation. If we do not have the time or resources, what kind of services should we seek from a marketing company like yours? What is the investment in hiring something to help you get started?
Yeah, that's a big question. But going back to, and I'm just going to quickly fly back here. Where are we? Give me 1 second. Yeah, this slide here. So generally speaking, when somebody comes to us with a fresh slate, they haven't invested in digital marketing, they're starting from new or from scratch, this is generally the approach or the strategy that we like to take and we like to recommend. Again, I would start with focusing on building the destination. So building the website and ensuring that it's easy for people to convert on. But build the destination first, then look at investing in SEO or investing in activities that enable you to get good Google rankings. So SEO, Google Ads, listing portfolio, so building a listing portfolio. At the same time, if budget allows, actively chase reviews. You know, send existing clients emails saying, hey, we'd love for you to leave a review. We'd love for you to share your experience on social media. Encourage people to share their experience, and social media as well. Build a strong social presence. So website, SEO, review generation, social media, and then lastly, you would look at advertising and you know, building awareness. But that's sort of the approach or the strategy I would take. Now, when you talk about not having time, one of the approaches that we take as an agency, we actually provide our clients with a couple of different options. We have what's called a do-it-yourself option, where we provide the client with all of the tools and tutelage and training in doing this stuff themselves. And we also have a do it with me solution. So the client does some of the work, we do some of the work. And then of course, the third option is we just do all of it. So depending on how much time you want to spend, depending on your budget, there are definitely options out there that you'll be able to at least get a start on it.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Aaron.
Sure.
So I have a question from Elizabeth. I have a very
Sure.
small glass art business. If I can only afford what platform, what would it be?
That's a great question. I would think, and it's funny you say you have a glass art business. One of our clients is a glass artist as well, George Shannon Design. But I think for that type of business, because it's such a niche target, it's such a niche business, that I would look at who your target audience is and what platforms they like to engage upon. So I know that with George's business, he likes to utilize social media in order to share his portfolio and share the work that he does in a visual manner with his potential customers and with his audience. So I think for a business like yours that is focused on the visual art side of things, that perhaps investing in building a strong social presence would be a good idea. So platforms like Hootsuite, I think, would be a good one for you. As I mentioned earlier, that's basically a tool that enables you or gives you the tools to build a strong social presence. It helps you, create scheduled posts. It helps you monitor what people are saying. It's just a great tool to help you build your social presence. So yeah, for that type of business, I would probably focus on the visual aspect and build a strong social audience. So tools like Hootsuite would be great.
Thank you, Aaron. That's a great suggestion.
Yeah.
So I have a question from Paige. She says this is a fantastic webinar. And
Thanks.
Which social platforms are best for promoting businesses? Is Instagram worth it? Or is Twitter effective?
Yeah, great question. So and the answer is not linear. It's different for everybody. It depends on your business. It depends on your target audience. It depends on lots of different things. What I will say is that each platform has its strengths and weaknesses. Instagram is an incredibly visually focused platform. It's all about sharing beautiful images and video content. It's all about the visual aspect of it and catching people's attention with images and with videos. So depending on what your product or service is, if it photographs well and if you're proficient at taking fun videos, then Instagram can be incredibly powerful. However, it's incredibly time consuming as well. You need to be constantly posting and constantly creating content. So lots of time and effort's required, but big rewards if you do it well as well. Facebook, on the other hand, is a little bit more long form. That's where you can start to talk a little bit more about features and benefits, and you can start to have conversations with customers or potential customers. So again, that has its positives as well. Twitter is incredibly fast moving. I personally find Twitter is a great platform for conversing with people and having conversations, not a great platform for promoting a business or products or services. But again, it just depends on your industry. It depends on who your audience is. It depends on what platforms they use. That's the approach I would take. I would do the research, look at what they use, what they engage with, and take it from that angle.
Thank you. So we have 2 questions left. I know we're just a few minutes over time, but
Sure.
from Elizabeth, from Liz, what would be a good free reputation management software program?
There are lots of different tools out there. Like I would, okay, so one that I can think of off top of head that you could utilize as a reputation management tool is a platform like Mailchimp, which is an email marketing tool. But what you can do with Mailchimp, and it's free for the first, I think, 2,000 subscribers or something like that, is create automated email campaigns that encourage people to leave a review or share a social media post. We're actually building lots of e-commerce websites for clients at the moment that we link up with Mailchimp. So whenever somebody visits a page on their or a product on their e-commerce website, if they add that product to the shopping cart, but then don't follow through with the purchase, they'll receive an email a few hours later saying, hey, we noticed you left this awesome product in your shopping cart. Here's a link to it if you want to complete the purchase. So you can use tools like Mailchimp to follow up and to send requests for reviews and send requests for social media posts and things like that. So I would take a look at Mailchimp as a first port of call, because that's a free one and it's incredibly powerful.
Great, thank you, Aaron. So our last question is from Mackenzie. Thank you for the webinar. It has been fantastic. I am currently helping an oat milling company expand its market and customer base from more of a local focus to a national focus. How would you recommend growing this consumer base and creating awareness on a national level?
Yeah, I think in that situation, I think it's going to be really important for you to build your credibility and for you to build your expertise in the marketplace. So I think for a business that's trying to grow nationally after focusing on the local market, creating lots of content and sharing that content through social media, creating a blog on the website that talks about the products and services, but really focusing on trying to build to create credible content that you can share on multiple platforms would be critical. Remembering that the goal in doing that is, if somebody's searching for products or services like yours, and there are a bunch of blog posts that talk about how awesome your product or service is, that's, Google is going to give you better rankings in those searches than somebody who doesn't create that content. So I would invest in creating blog posts and focusing on content marketing.
Thank you so much, Aaron. And thank you everyone for your wonderful questions, and Aaron for your thoughtful answers. So this was an amazing session. I know we're hoping to have some more sessions with Aaron in the fall, so I hope you all stay tuned for those. But in the meantime, please do not hesitate to talk to the marketing department Winnipeg and check out their platforms offered or demonstrated today.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.